Mmm, gumbo smells good, Tiana.
I think it's done, Daddy.
Yeah, are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely positive.
Yes.
Okay, I'm about to put this spoon in my...
Wait! Done.
Hi, I'm Kyhla. Thank you for watching Komfortably Kyhla's weekly cooking show. Today I'm going to be doing a Disney Princess and the Frog inspired meal. We're going to be doing a Cajun shrimp and grits. The thing that I love about this meal is that you can really design it to what size you want it to be. You typically get shrimp from a seafood counter, so you can make it for one person, or you can make it for as many as you want. This is also not really that expensive of a meal because shrimp is a fairly cheap seafood. You have grits, which is like a very cheap hot cereal type of dish that is from typically down south. And then you have Andouille Sausage, which is also relatively cheap. It's very versatile too, so you can make this for vegetarian if you want to swap out shrimp for tofu. Or if you're not a seafood person, you can also make it something of your own with either beef or chicken. Let's get to it. So I like to get all of my prep done before I begin to cook with the stove. What that means is I like to get everything chopped up and ready to go in the oven or the stove. And I do want to let everybody know that I'm going to be using only 2 cutting boards and mainly this cutting board. But because I will be cooking everything, nothing will be consumed raw. It is okay, there is no cross-contamination. However, if I was cooking something and consuming anything raw, I would take the time to either use separate cutting boards, or I would be taking the time to take this cutting board and wash it before I use it for something else. I'm going to begin by cutting this sausage at the diagonal. Only use this forward of the spring onion. However, I am going to chop it about right here and save this portion to mix in with my grits. It will taste really good mixed in with rice too. And then I use the ends of the spring onion and I chop all the way down till I would say about this much, so right where the white begins. And I fry that up or saute it up with my other produce. So it gives a very nice mild onion flavor, and also I think it provides, you know, a good alternative to food waste. And that is the completion of our produce that we're going to be using for the shrimp and andouille sausage portion. I'm going to put these to the side, and I am going to begin making the garlic crostinis that will go with it. I think crostinis are always really nice to have with a dish that has some amount of sauce with it, because the crusty bread is just really nice to dip into the sauce. So you want a segmented knife, meaning a knife that has these ridges in it. A knife that is smooth like this is going to be very difficult to cut, and it's not going to be a clean cut when it comes to bread. I like my crostinis relatively thin. I would say maybe like a 1/4 inch thick. That way they're very crusty, but since we're making these homemade, you do have the luxury of choosing how thick you want it. So if you like your crostinis a little thicker, you're more than welcome to do it, but this is about how thick I enjoy it. I've transferred the bread to a bake sheet, and I've set the oven to 350. I'm gonna go ahead and take Kerrygold's garlic herb butter, and I'm going to melt that in a microwave safe dish. I'm gonna be melting it in my measuring cup. You do not need the whole stick of butter for this because it melts. So I'm going to be doing about this much. I add some chunky garlic in, and I'm going to add some parsley. Now, the chunky garlic is really up to the individual. If you're not into garlic, you don't have to add any extra, or you could add a little. I'm going to be adding, I'd say about a tablespoon. And then I am going to mix in some lightly dried parsley. Once again, this is totally up to the individual. I'm just gonna sprinkle some in. I'm not really sure how much that is, maybe about a tablespoon and a teaspoon. And now I'm going to microwave this all together. You could microwave this for, I would say, about 30 seconds to a minute should be more than enough. And I'm going to use a silicone brush to brush it onto the bread. However, if you don't have a silicone brush, you can always use a spoon to spoon it on. This smells so good. Okay, so you can see my silicone brush here. I'm just mixing it together. And now I'm gonna take some and get a good amount on here and then brush it on the crostini. Because of the dips, it's going to take a little bit for you to get it out of the dips, but do not be afraid to work with it. If this is not enough for how much bread that you have set aside for the crostini, do not be afraid to just make more.